Good morning, everybody. It's Susan Edwards of The Rock Shop at 311 Broadway, historic downtown Paducah. And it is Friday. It is what is today, the 14th? I'm not real sure. Anyway, it's Friday. And I did a live yesterday. And the angels have asked me to do another live today because unless you live under a rock or you're just coming back to Earth from your off-planet assignment, we've got some stuff going on around here, and there are a lot of people who are upset and like, bah! So they have asked me, since I am a channel, to please talk to you today about what the heck is going on with this coronavirus. So I have already done my meditation, but since you guys are involved, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to redo our prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and it is good. Now, I do a prayer of protection anytime I open myself up to the angelic realm, as well as any spiritual realm, because we're opening up the barn door. So we are now protected, and I highly recommend that if you are working in the spiritual realm, you use that prayer, or that's the prayer of protection. You can look it up. Or you do some sort of a prayer or some sort of a bubble of protection around yourself and ask for the highest, from the highest source, for your highest good and the highest good of all. So we are protected. So I got quiet this morning, and I'm like, okay, so what's going on? We got a lot of panic going on down here on planet Earth. Could you give us a little guidance, please? And so basically, what they're telling me is that the nature of a crisis, and this is actually something they had told me a long time ago. The nature of a crisis leaves no time to consider anything other than your priorities. I'll say that again. The nature of a crisis leaves you no time to consider anything but your priorities. That's kind of the gift that a crisis gives you, is that you get to actually review what in your life really is important. And sometimes we manufacture crisis in our lives, and they're rather predictable. We don't need to go into how that happens, because we've all manufactured crisis in our life before. And then there are the type that kind of sneak up and bite us in the patootie because we didn't see them coming. Or maybe we saw them coming, but, we see no evil, we hear no evil, we speak no evil. And so we kind of ignored them, even though we heard that freight train rumbling down the track, and we realized that it was probably gonna hit us, but we didn't step aside. And that kind of feels like what's going on here. So they told me that the first stage of an oncoming crisis, whether it's a health crisis, a financial crisis, an emotional crisis, any kind of a trauma, is that of shock. It's like, bah, what happened? We were rolling along so well, and then all of a sudden, the wheel on our wagon fell off, even though we might have noticed that it was kind of wobbly for some amount of time. So the first thing to do is and they said to isolate yourself. And I don't know that they necessarily mean that you got to move to the mountain and live in a cave. What they're talking about is to get quiet and go within, and to take a look at what is disrupting our life, what's disrupting our lifestyle, what's disrupting our comfort, what's disrupting our joy, what is disrupting what we've been doing, and to reflect upon that. And then they said, some people are going to be like, I'm not going to do that kind of stuff. I don't want to know. I'm just going to ignore it. I'm not going to meditate. It's a bunch of blah, blah, blah. Eh, okay. Yeah, if you are so uncomfortable looking at what's inside and you're part of what's going on in your life, that you're like not having it, then you're probably most in need of getting quiet and going inside, because there's some stuff that you're not able or willing or interested in taking a look at this point. So I think it's fair to say that our lives collectively on this planet at this particular moment have been or are about to be disrupted. Whether you have children at school and now all of a sudden you've got daycare issues and other issues, whether your work has been disrupted, whether, you know, your lifestyle has been disrupted, any number of disruptions, they are happening. I mean, it's not like it's coming, it's here. So the first thing to do is emotionally go within. Do some praying, do some meditating, do some journaling, take a walk in the woods if that makes you happy. Put yourself in a situation where you can look inside. That's the first thing. Pay attention to what false narratives you may be giving power to. Fear is a big one. Fear is a separation or a disconnect from unconditional God love. Fear is not real, okay? Fear is a disconnect. So take a look, write down, what are some of the false narratives that you are giving power to right now? And it could be a long list. And some of this stuff is really, really important. You know, we're all going to have some disruption in our life. If it hasn't already started, it will. So first thing is, don't approach it with fear. Look at it with a certain amount of childlike wonder. It's like, ooh, it's like your lights go out, okay? And you're in the middle of one of your favorite shows on TV, and then it's like, wah, what happened? So rather than getting all, you know, wah, stop and get quiet and see what's going on in your world energetically, and make some mental note, if not physical, write them down in notes, okay? So get quiet, isolate yourself, and obviously, you know, follow all of the guidelines that have been given to us. I mean, if you are sick, then isolate yourself. But if you're not sick, then isolate yourself emotionally for just for a minute and find out what is going on with you internally, and then make some adjustments to your false narratives or any fear that might be starting to rise. And if there are some real things that are presenting, then maybe those are the things that you need to be either getting in balance or eliminating, or if there's something lacking, something that you need to bring in. Okay. And the more uncomfortable you are with getting quiet and looking at these things, the more stuff you probably are really needing to start working on. So the next thing they told me is that nature or life requires and demands balance. So it's not a request, it's a demand. It's just not negotiable. Balance is required for life to be sustainable. So if you think that you aren't a part of nature, as my mother was fond of saying, you have another thing coming. So nature and life does not care about your comfort. It doesn't. So our planet, which is a living, breathing entity, requires balance. So I'm forced to look inside myself and say, okay, what am I doing that's out of balance in terms of nature? And the first thing I wrote down was I'm over-consuming. I'm over-consuming and I'm wasting things. So I need to take a look at that. And they can be little things, they can be big things, but whatever is coming up in these moments of quiet when you're really faced with, this is a crisis, folks, so go into it prepared and take a look at it objectively and say, okay, well, this really isn't that important and I can let that one go, and this really is important, and so I need to nurture and bring that in. So I need to do the same thing for myself and my business and my family. Today's challenge for you is to get quiet and take a look at what are your priorities. So if there's something in your life, and then by nature in our societies, in our families, in our business communities, in our cities and towns and states, and then in the world, if there's something that is unsustainable, it will no longer be sustained. And so the angels were very clear to me that, we're at a tipping point on some of this stuff. And so nature, who does not care about our comfort, will make an adjustment. And these global vibrations that have been out of balance will be brought back into balance. So as an individual and as a species, we need to be prepared, be aware, and do our part to bring back a sustainable balance in your personal life, in your family life, in your business life, and in the community at large. So balance. So I've been certified in Ho'oponopono, and so here's the prayer for today. The Ho'oponopono, which is the ancient Hawaiian prayer chant, is I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. You don't need to know how it works. You just need to know that it works. So when we say I love you, we're saying I love you to the divine, to God or the Lord or whatever is your higher source, your higher being, God, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call it source, okay, to the divine with the big D. All right, so I love you, and I am so grateful for being a part of this divine plan. I'm so grateful. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if at any level, conscious or subconscious, or if I'm just completely unaware in the past or in the present, that my thinking has not aligned with my divine purpose or with God. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please forgive me for being unaware and being disconnected. Please forgive me. Thank you. Thank you for clearing this false narrative from this misalignment. Thank you. Thank you for clearing this from my mind, my body, my spirit, my life, and this world. Thank you. Thank you for restoring my frequencies to unconditional God love. And finally, they reminded me that whatever you believe is going to be true for you. So if you believe that you are strong in mind and body and in physical and in spirit and in love, you can withstand any crisis that comes your way. And trust me, folks, they will come. There'll be little ones, there'll be medium-sized ones, and there'll be big ones. And there'll be the ones that you see coming, and there'll be the ones that smack you aside the head and like, what happened there? Okay? So whatever you believe. So believe that you will survive. Do what you need to do. Be prepared, keep your knees bent and be in that position to be ready to weather the storm, because it is here. It's not coming. It's here. And so believe that your connection with Spirit, with God, with the divine, whatever you choose to call it, will strengthen you. And will God, the question is, well, why did God let this happen? God doesn't let things happen, okay? God is with you as they happen. Life is life, okay? So get your connection with your spirit, with the divine, get it strong. Take a look at your situation, and then just be prepared. Whatever you believe is going to be true for you. So believe that it's going to be okay, because it is. The angels have asked me to go live over the next few days, so about 11:45 or noon I should be doing this. If you have any particular questions for them, go ahead and put them in the comments, and I will ask them the next time we chat, which apparently is going to be quite a bit. I hope that this has helped. This is Susan, signing off. Have a great one. Bye-bye.